What do we have here? You were saying that not most people don't have as good a photo collection as
Yeah.
as we do, really.
Are you taking now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is that where you want it?
Mm-hmm. That's great.
Lots of hair.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's a good shot of the back side of the house. You know, I told you there was a porch over here.
Mm-hmm.
That's underneath his workshop up here. And this room right here was grandmother's dark room for photography. And this room over the back door entrance, that was the bathroom. It was a long, narrow room. You could sit in the window. Johnny was right inside there and sit and look out towards the barn.
Mm-hmm.
This had a road running right along here and went down over here to the barn. But it was a great old house. That's Dad and me.
Mm-hmm.
Mother made all my clothes. And that's Mother and me.
Did she make that little sailor suit?
Yeah, she made all my clothes. And that's John Stillman, who is Kitty's husband. He was a civil engineer. He built the chapel at Duke University.
Yes, sir.
And more pictures of the kissing Ken.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good picture. Much better of Evelyn than usual.
Mm-hmm. It is, isn't it?
Me.
Looking distinguished.
That's Ruth. And let's see. Oh, that's double picture. Yeah, that's Dad getting his 45th year service pin.
At Duke Power.
Yeah. Evelyn's got the tie clip. It's a diamond tie clip. It's got his 50th year, I think.
Hmm. This is around the
That's a good-
carousel time, isn't it?
Yeah. You see the crack in the front teeth?
Mm-hmm.
She begged us for years to get that, or put braces on and pull it together.
Hmm.
And Dennis said, no, it'll grow together. And she got teed off at us a good bit. But we never fell into her. And the crowning glow was that she went to the dentist. She's been over there in Davidson. And the dentist says, "Who did the work on your teeth? They're such a good job." And we never heard any more about it since then. And that's a picture of grandfather. Now this is a sidewalk, comes off the porch, off the dining room, and it goes down this. It's a long walkway, as you can see. Edmondson Avenue runs out, and right here it turns and comes like this. And this is a cherry tree here with the big bings.
Mm-hmm.
And she had a red sour tree on the back corner out the back porch. But she had all down this walk. And she could go out here on the side porch and whistle. And you look down here all the way just before you get to the street, off on the right hand side down here. There was some old shrubbery and stuff, and chipmunks lived there.
Mm-hmm.
And when they'd hear her whistle, they'd come out, and you'd see them just run all the way up, lickety split with their tail up in the air, you know. And they'd come up the steps. There were about 5 steps on the porch, and cram their mouth full, 2 or 3 peanuts in the hulls, and down they'd go and dump them in the house and come back. And about the 3rd trip, why, they'd take time to eat one out of her hand.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody else could do anything with them except her. That's Georgiana, I think.
Now, who is Georgiana?
No. This is Mamie Elam, Aunt Pinky Bolick. This is off of Evelyn's family.
Mm-hmm.
There's Spencer. This, if I'm not mistaken, is Dad's father. Yeah. I only have a couple pictures of him, but that's Dad's father there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, okay. To my knowledge, I only saw him twice, when he came to visit twice.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see. Dad always put peas, sowed peas in the new ground,
Mm-hmm.
and then planted grass. That's what that is. Pip, and Dad, and me.
Another good picture.
There's another one about high school.
Oh, yeah.
Another one about high school.
That was around what year?
36, somewhere around in there, 34, 36.
Mm-hmm. What was happening?
Now,
Did you guys suspect that the World War was coming at all?
did we
at
do
that
what?
time? Did you remember? You would have been in elementary school during the
No, high school.
First World War.
Oh, First World War? No, I was born during the war.
Okay.
1918.
So then the second Pearl Harbor happened when you were how old?
Oh. Well, let's see. Pearl Harbor was in 1941.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I was born 18, so it'd be 23 years old.
Mm-hmm. So you were out of college by the time you enlisted.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I graduated in 1940.
Mhm.
Now look how the print has come off on that.
Yeah. Kind of neat. That's you too.
Yeah. Yeah, most of these. Now his dad's.
You're like Abby. You're a well-documented child.
Ah, there we are. Now this is Dad. Oh. No, it doesn't say, but this is his college picture, I think.
Mhm. College where?
Cornell,
Oh, okay.
Cornell University.
That's his office.
This is Dad's office. He sits right here. And this is the way his desk looked.
Very neat.
This is crowded.
Right.
He usually didn't have anything. He didn't even keep a pencil on there. He kept his pencil in his in this drawer right here, you know. And as you can see, some of these, he took his photographs of the different dams and so on, and had the shop to frame them and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And this was his library.
Were those aerial photographs of the dams?
Some of them are, yeah.
Yeah.
There's the. And see, he didn't even have his phone on his desk. He was very neat. He could sleep in the bed all night and you'd never have to make it because it was already made up. Now there's a good shot of it.
Yeah.
But as I say, that they came in and take a picture while he was working. That he didn't like a cluttered desk. He didn't like a cluttered car, cluttered room. He didn't like any clutter at all.
Mm-hmm. A good trait in an engineer.
Yeah. Now that's Dad and his Uncle Bob Hovey. Now he married, you knew Macon, didn't you?
Sure.
Well, he married Macon's mother.
Oh.
That's taken in Charlotte. There's Duke University Tower that John built. And one of these caps up here on the top spire has got a copper plate underneath it and the date and John's name and a couple of people.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's me, not this one. That's
who's-
Mabel.
Maple is.
Mabel is worked for Mother about, I don't know, she must have worked 8 or 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Her husband worked for Duke Power. And when they left Salisbury, Buck Steam Plant, and came to Charlotte, they didn't have another dam on books right then, so her husband had to stay with his job.
Mm-hmm.
So we got Minnie in Charlotte. Minnie was there for 10 or 15 years, and then Louise.
Mm-hmm.
You can't much tell that, but that's it. That's inside Mother's living room.
Oh, okay.
Now that's the whole clan. One time visiting down to Charlotte.
Here, just hold it right there. So I can get it close up of it. Who all is it? Oh, it didn't. It's not focusing on it. Who all is the whole clan?
Oh, Mother and Dad and Pip's boys and my children and
Mm-hmm.
that's Susie, Evelyn's mother. I mean, Macon's mother.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little fine for me to see.
Right.
That shows where I worked. That's Fishing Creek.
Mm-hmm.
And these big top parts here, they have to come out. That's before Dad's hair got white. That's made over in England or Scotland.
What were y'all doing over there?
We were on a tour and 40-something people, and they picked us as a pair to have a mock wedding. And so you see, they supplied all the uniforms, that top hat and so on. Take a picture. And this is Harriet Stuman. This is there's her husband. And
Now, how is Harriet
There's
related
Harriet.
to us?
huh?
How is Harriet related to us?
Harriet is my Aunt Kitty's girl. She had
Her daughter.
had 2 girls and a boy,
Mm-hmm.
and she taught. She took piano and became quite a good pianist. And she teaches piano now
Mm-hmm.
and plays real good. I mean, she's a good pianist.
Does she live around here?
She lived up in. He was in the Navy, so they lived up somewhere up around Baltimore.
There it
And
is. Hold still. Cut this off. It is not.
and that's me. That's in high school. And that I don't know. That's Ruth.
Mm-hmm. With that wondrous look on her face.
You get that all right?
Yeah.
And that's Evelyn's mother and aunt.
Mm-hmm.
That's her mother, and this is her aunt.
Maddie Abernathy.
Mattie Abernathy, Pinky Boley, Margaret. Well, there's a third one here. That's another aunt. That's Asley. Yep. That's Asley, who worked for Evelyn's mother.
Mm-hmm.
She's she's young and was very good, put her children through college, married a man named Pink. They used to come down and visit us.
Mm-hmm.
Now there is her Evelyn's grandmother and Abernathy Senior. I can't. No, that's right. Can't tell much about that. That's Forney and Rock's house.
Oh, it is, sure.
That's Evelyn's father and mother. And then Forney, Sister Forney, and Rock. And
And then her and you.
there and me, and that's James Edgar. He was killed in a car crash.
Mm-hmm.
Coming back from a basketball game. He was riding in the back seat. And the driver ran off the road, and they called. That was about 2 o'clock in the morning, coming up from somewhere in South Carolina, basketball game. And called me to come, Shorty, come identify the body.
Mm.
That's not anything you look forward to.
Mm-mm.
That's dead. And that's his secretary. I thought you might like to have his picture, Mr. Wander, taken at the luncheon we had for him last week. It's a complete surprise to him, and I wish you could have seen his expression when he walked in the private dining room and saw all 80 of us present. He has his new office fixed up real nice and seems to be in good spirits. Can't tell you how very much we miss not having him in our department, although we still see a lot of it. This was right after he retired.
Mm-hmm.
Duke Pryor had a mandatory 65-year-old retirement. And they retired him and then kept him on full-time as a consultant. That's Ellen. Fashion now, long skirts. This is right across the bridge over there, you know it.
Mm-hmm.
There's her father sitting in front of the garage at the old house. He liked to wear caps. Another one of me. A lot of these are so small you can't, I know you won't be able to make them up.
I don't know, we're doing pretty well.
Oh, that's it. That's at Mother's in Charlotte. Pip, Susie Garnes, James, and Ruth.
Oh, it's me.
That's Susie. That's Macon's mother.
Mm-hmm.
Pip. $604. That's our house on 10th Street. That's me and Pip. Pip and I, excuse me.
You're right. Oh, no, you're not.
That's me. That's a good one, Dad.
Sure is.
C.T. Wanzer. There's
That's the inside of
inside one of the power plants.
it. Mm-hmm.
That's a
Generators.
hydroelectric.
Is that art?
Yeah, no, you have to look at that to tell what it is. These are hacks of lumber in a French plant, and here's Mother. She's selling them hospital insurance.
Really?
There's Dad. As long from 30, he was 30, I guess, by the time his hair turned white.
Uh-huh. Yeah, those are right small. Sorry about this,
Yeah,
viewers.
that's a good picture there.
Were you in a bath or something?
There we are at the beach,
Oh, okay.
Ruth and me. That was one of the few taken by a regular photographer. See the pose he had us do?
Mm-hmm.
I never did like it. There she is. This is in the state of Maryland. That's the it's the largest oak tree.
That's a beautiful tree.
Forgot the name of it now. Miss America.
Mr. America.
Yeah. That's Mother and me. This is what that bride and groom was taken.
Mm-hmm. In England. You're all dressed up.
I've forgotten what I had tails on for. Not very often. This is taken in Blowing Rock.
Oh.
Till there. And there's the Kissing Again reunion again. That's when I was a little boy, for sure. There's Pip. This is Pink.
Mm-hmm. As Lee's husband.
And the house cow. Grandma Hayden, that would be my grandfather's
Daddy's.
Grandma Hayden,
Says
Daddy's
Daddy's
mother.
mother. Oh, right.
So it would be-
and Aunt Helen.
Be my great grandmother and Helen. Doesn't look like they're too pleased, do they? Now this is Harriet, the pianist,
Mm-hmm.
and her husband. He's commander or something in the Navy. He's retired, and they built down at Pinehurst, right down middle of the golf course there.
Hmm.
And her two children, two boys and a girl. That'll break your camera there.
Now.
There's an old one. Oh, what I got there. That's a good one. Taking. Now that's Dad's father.
Now, what do you
This,
remember him?
huh?
Yeah.
I said when I saw the other picture. He came down to visit just twice,
Mm-hmm.
and
Down from.
Dad had to keep him up. He was ill most of his latter years,
Mm-hmm.
and in the hospital a lot. And Dad, he went up to see him, but he wasn't able to come down much.
Mm-hmm.
So I never got to know him. I just met him just a couple times. And that's what I mean by I just met.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
There you are in front of a power
that's the only
line.
toy, real toy I ever had. And that was made by Hickory wagon up here in Hickory.
Uh-huh.
Made just like the big one. These are sideboards that would come off and everything.
Huh.
Made just like the big horse-drawn wagons. And I played with that thing, and I'd go get water down at the creek and bring up and make mud tracks for the wheels to go in. And those have to be the Ferguson children,
Mm-hmm.
the one that had 13.
13 children. Oh, wow.
Oh, let's see, I started putting them back in here. There's another old picture of Mother. Mother started the little theater in Charlotte,
Mm-hmm.
but they used to have theater plays at all the construction camps, and also at college. Ruth Hayden as Mr. Pickwick and Friends.
Oh.
Shows the uniforms. She had right long hair. I can remember when she got it cut. There's the three of us.
Why'd she get it cut?
Well, why do women get anything? She decided it was, working.
Mm-hmm.
It's better that she have a short haircut than long hair.
Mm-hmm.
Which she's probably right on that. That's the front of the house in the wintertime.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's the same picture I had a little bit ago. And that's Evelyn's dad and mother there. He was about 6'2".
When did you first meet them? When you were just going out with
I met Evelyn at college.
Mm-hmm. So then she brought you back.
And she, probably last part of 1940, first part of 40 to 39.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
How did you end up taking over that business?
hmm?
How did you end up doing the business over there?
Oh, well, see, her dad owned it.
Mm-hmm.
It started off with, it was J. Bolick Sons, not and Sons, but
Mm-hmm.
her grandfather owned it. He was a Jerome Bolick.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them left. Oscar went out and built Southern Furniture, and they ended up, there was Ed Bolick, Evelyn's father, and one who was on the school board.
Mm-hmm.
And so those were there, and then the one on the school board died. Ed had it all, and when he died, I had the option to buy it if I wanted it, and so I bought it.
Mm-hmm. And were you already doing bus bodies
Yeah.
at that point?
Yeah.
Started out with buggies. Went
Started
to bus
out with
and
buggies.
truck bodies.
Went to truck bodies and repaired then went to school bus bodies and then truck bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And
Was that the first thing you did after you got out of the service?
no, I worked with Lowther Trucking Company. I was learning the trucking business,
Mm-hmm.
and I was in there a year, and Pearl Harbor came along, and I went into the service. I never did go back into trucking.
Mm-hmm.
Now here we are. There's Evelyn, myself, and my three officers that down in Valdosta, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
They come in. Our landlord lived on the first floor. But Parthenia
Mm-hmm.
and Dan were their names. They were in their 80s. And second marriage for one and third for the other. And it was Mr. Dan's boys or my girls or something, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But they rented out the whole second floor. And the ones before us it was petitioned off up there so you could have two couples to live up there, two Army couples. And we just took the whole thing. A little small kitchen about as long as from the door right there, and it was about this wide. Not counting the counters in there.
Mm-hmm.
And it went out the back door. And Evelyn said, I can't run the kitchen here with another person. It's too small.
Mm-hmm.
So we turned out to doing it that way with,
Worked it out.
yeah. Look at that one. There's another one of that's a good view of the Baltimore house, Catonsville, really.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like a lot of good times.
Oh
Happened
gosh,
there.
yeah. Your grandmother would say, Bob, if you run out and pick me some cherries, I'll make you a cherry pie. was the little red sour cherries as they could be. And you know, you eat two and put one in the bucket. It'd take hours to pick enough. And there's Mabel, and again with me. And that's Dad. He's somewhere. I don't know where. That's me holding a little brother.
That's Chuck and Sue.
That's Chuck and Sue, yeah. Colorado? California. Snowmass, California, 92. Now, Mother and Ruth, Macon and me, and Evelyn.
Marion, I bet.
I don't know. That's Chuck.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good picture of him. And there's the four of us again. Dad like bow tie. Look at the smile on that.
Sure is.
That's Pip. He was the card.
Yeah,
See, that would be Abby's great grandfather.
that's right.
There's that same picture down the sidewalk. And they have iris and some other flowers that we had in the center of the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
They were 100 and something years old. That's during one of the, probably the Christmas party. But this is Preacher. He came along after Pink.
Mm-hmm.
He worked for Dad. Excuse me. He worked for him mainly all his life.
Why'd you call him preacher?
He was a preacher.
Uh-huh.
He was an ordained Baptist preacher. And you can see, he was short. He was only about 5'1".
You worked for him in what capacity?
Anything that Dad needed done.
Mhm.
He was mainly, he was on the payroll, I think, as a as a truck driver.
Mm-hmm.
He'd say he worked for Dad. He was in Dad's department
Mm-hmm.
where power paid him. And he had a white coat. And in time we had a well like Christmas
Mm-hmm.
or anything special. Have him in, and he and Louise or Minnie would. They'd be the help.
Mm-hmm.
And Pip and Sydney. That's Pinky Forney.
Oh. What a picture.
And Pinky Forney, Mrs. D.E. Bowley. That's her, and that's Pinky Forney. 3 months and 15 days.
Mm.
That's Evelyn's mother.
Mm-hmm. And grandmother?
Yeah, I guess. It doesn't say on there. Well, yeah, up here at the top, it's about out. Forney.
Just says Pinky Forney.
Yeah, that's all.
Mm-hmm.
That's Evelyn's book. Mother and a father and a mother. No, we've seen that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe we've seen that, but that's Ruth and Chuck.
Elementary school.
Yeah. Oh, the picture's been taken out.
Would you say you were a good student?
Yeah, I was honor roll and everything through high school,
Mm-hmm.
but when I got to college, I joined a fraternity. There were lots of things to do other than study.
That's right.
And oh, these are the kiss and kin
Mm-hmm.
pictures. You know, you wouldn't be interested in them. Oh, now I made all A's up until senior high school, and made a little bit different. Attention, Mel Best, balance due to the U.S. government, $50,000. Two B-25s, 250,000. My radio man, he was a card. He really was. He kept you. And so this is what he sent to the daughters. They're having a book made.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted comments and pictures and one thing. So I sent him, this is what I sent him. Bob Griswold,
Mm-hmm.
he made this one up, right, 2 houses up, made the picture,
Oh yeah, on his computer.
copied the picture. And then Bob did the rest of it on the paper. I just explained that he never was going to catch me. As good a flyer as you were, you could never catch me. I'm the old man in the crew.
What? How long were you in Australia then before New Guinea?
Oh, well, we were there about a week or so, maybe not that long. And then we were sent to Northern Australia, but when we were sent to Northern Australia, well, on takeoff to go up there, this is when we crashed. You took off, that plane was completely loaded, Bombay and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a instrument takeoff. You take off, you don't look where you're going down there, you look at the instrument panel.
Mm-hmm.
And it was by time. Plane in front of us, when he shoves his throttle forward, you start counting, and you take 10 seconds, or whatever the time was,
Mm-hmm.
and you shove yours. And the next one, everybody takes off at a timed interval.
Mm-hmm.
And the one ahead of us is supposed to go off to the right, and we're supposed to go and take off to the left. The one ahead of us took off and ran into a little bit of trouble and drifted across our track. Well, when we got down there, that prop wash took all the lift out of the air.
Mm-hmm.
and down we went.
Didn't lift off.
And
Yeah.
we already had the wheels up,
Mm-hmm.
and so then we had. It took us, I don't know, a week or at least a week. Seemed to me like it was closer to 10 days before we could ever catch a ride up to Northern Australia, where the rest of the group was.
Mm-hmm.
And we finally caught a ride in the old B-26, it was an old bomber. And they were disqualified. And they'd been brought out of the Philippines when the Philippines fell.
Disqualified means what?
Yeah, it
What's it mean?
means you're crazy as hell if you fly in this. all the camouflage paint was worn off down to the aluminum, and
Mm-hmm.
the B-26 flew just about like a brick flies. And so we finally got one that they use them for supplies to Australia some, and messages, things like that, paperwork. And we got a ride with one, the whole crew. There was 7 of us. Six of us. And we flew up, we put boards in the bottom of the Bombay and stood on the boards in the Bombay.
Mm. And then there you were in Northern Australia. What happened then?
Well, we stayed in Northern Australia for a week or two, practicing,
Mm-hmm.
and took off, went up to Australia, from Australia up to New Guinea, which is about 600-800 miles.
Mm-hmm.
Landed there, and right out, it was at Port Moresby. And there were about, I've forgotten how many airstrips there were, about 6 or 8 airstrips there. Because they were right at the base of the mountain, and everything on New Guinea was just nothing but the top of a mountain range. So very little flat land, just right along the coast in some spots. And Port Moresby it was hilly, but they had a bunch of airstrips there.
And then the Japanese had airstrips on the other side,
On
right?
the other side, yeah.
Wow.
And we'd fly, we'd take off, and you have to go up to climb to 10,000 feet, and then zoom down. And we had to fly like that going down because your airspeed not supposed to get over 250 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
But hell,
Why not?
we'd pass that. Well, that's
The structural
one
design
the-
of those
no,
aircraft.
Yeah, one of the requirements for the airplane.
Mm-hmm.
But lots of times, I looked over there at the airspeed, and it'd be 300 miles an hour,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to adjust for my bombing.
Mm-hmm.
And going that fast, we did one time, about 300 and something. And we opened the bomb bays, and when we did, the hydraulic system couldn't take it fast enough. The wind grabbed the doors and jerked them, and it just jerked all the hydraulic system loose.
Mm.
And
So then they just hung open.
so they hung open, and we didn't know when we got back whether our wheels were down or not.
Oh,
But we
gosh.
took a chance on it. We made 4 or 5 passes at the airport,
Mm-hmm.
at the airfield, and the tower finally told us, says, head it to sea and jump out. We don't want it crashing on anything, because it just had a little short, narrow place
To land.
for land, and then it went up the mountains. And we were our air base was on the other side, but we were landing on this shore.
Mm-hmm.
And Mel said, well, let me try one more time. And we tried one more time, and they said, well, it looks like it's locked, but we can't tell for sure from the ground, just looking at it through binoculars.
Mm-hmm.
And Mel said, yeah, anybody else wants to jump out, go ahead. He says, I'm gonna land the thing though.
Mm-hmm.
May not do a good job, but I'm gonna land it.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, we all stayed. And
And you were all glad it landed too, I bet.
well, you know, we were a crew. Everybody trusted everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody on knew the other man's job.
Mm-hmm.
And well, let's see, we crashed that plane in Australia, and we crashed another one. We were taking off, and we lost an engine. But we flew with 15,000 pounds more bombs and ammunition than the factory said the plane would fly with.
Mm-hmm.
And we lost an engine, and you're supposed to keep the dead engine high.
Mm-hmm.
But we couldn't. We had to turn to the left, which was the left engine.
Mm-hmm.
We turned right around just above the treetops,
Mm.
and came in on the back side on the emergency pilot, fighter pilot runway. The guys up in the tower turned around, what are you doing here? But
And it crashed?
we lost a landing gear, and
Mm-hmm.
another time I had a tire shot out, and of course you got one good tire and one bad one. It's gonna turn into the bad one, and we just ground looped.
Some Japanese fighters shot the tires out?
Hmm?
So some Japanese fighters shot those tires out?
No, the ground fire.
Uh-huh.
We had fighter cover, so the Japanese fighters, they had their hands full way up above. And see, we were strafers. We went in on the ground level.
Mm-hmm.
When you get to the airfield, all jungle up all around it, we go down, and you pull up to go over an airplane on the runway. I mean, it was.
You were on the
it's
ground.
low. It's strafers are low.
Wow. You told me about those pictures that they took in Hawaii, where you'd come in and they were shooting across the harbor or something at each other.
Yeah. I wish I had those pictures, because
I know it, I did
they
too.
were good. But they kept all the good ones.
Mm-hmm.
If I go again, I'm going to go till they get caught. I'm going to take what I want. But they said you have to turn them in. They're going to check you. They better not find it hidden in your luggage.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's right.
I gave it. And it was 2 years later before they ever sent me those that they let me have. No value to them at all.
Mm-hmm.
The good ones were no value. Had been taken 6 months or a year earlier.
Mm-hmm. How long were you in New Guinea?
1 year.
A whole year. Wow.
I flew Christmas Eve, and 1 or 2 missions on Christmas Day.
Mm-hmm.
And,
So you flew missions most every day?
well,
Couple times
no,
a week?
of course we were available every day, but the planes, lots of times, you couldn't get 12 planes in the air. And of course you have to rotate. You have 4 squadrons, but each squadron would was trying to make 12 planes, but lots of times you couldn't get but 9 and three flights of 3 each. Because the rest of them were either shot and being repaired or something.
Mm-hmm. And then they were flying across the island and doing the same thing to you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
They would fly pretty good sized missions, fly bombers with
And strafers too?
no, they didn't have any strafers not that I saw.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recall any of them.
Why not?
They just didn't.
Just
didn't
didn't have the
strafers.
right.
Uh-uh.
Yeah.
They used bombers, and they were mostly twin engine bombers. Our heavies were 4 engines.
Mm-hmm.
But our B-25s, you could lose 1 engine out of 2. And you could fly that better than the B-24s, which had 4 engines, and you lose 1 on takeoff. There was something about it they didn't handle it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
How are we doing? I gotta make a couple phone calls tonight.
yep. You can either make them here or in the other room.
Yeah.
This is,
Maybe she's got a light on in there. Maybe she's over here. Let's see where she is. She doesn't have a doorbell. Forney didn't have a doorbell either.
Know that you don't have
Eddie
cream
Brooks.
or sugar. James, do you?
Then
Then
no,
got-
I'll just take it black.
No, I've got milk. I've got
I,
milk.
I like it black.
Are you
That's good.
sure?
I do too.
All right. Okay. Okay. You want to sit in here a minute, then we'll go into the den. We'll do
Where
anything.
you
And
want it, James? He's doing it, not me.
all right.
I'm just dodging it. I don't want to be on film.
In it, I don't either.
I feel pretty
But-
self-conscious
But I
just carrying
feel
it
so
around.
honored to be even included in this.
Not me, I'm just diving under it.
I just
I said,
feel,
Bob, you do it.
I feel entirely
He
honored.
doesn't care because he takes good pictures, you know.
He does, he takes
That's-
wonderful pictures.
All
take
of
terrible
his
pictures.
entire, we'll sit here just a minute,
Yeah.
then you're to be the
We should-
master of wherever, where to go.
I don't know what we should do.
Well, That I'll follow directions.
He didn't know how to do it to start with.
I'll follow directions.
I think he's gotten,
Anybody can come over here. These are all just been taken out of the oven. And if you want, he had made a copy of it, so I told you about it, and I stuck
You
it into
also-
the Bible, where in one day, 3 parties. It was somebody's birthday,
And I
either
bet-
yours or mine,
and
and
she loved it.
yes, and would have done it beautifully.
But
But
what
little things like that, now
But
this
what
is me
Marion
you're not
found-
interested in.
Marion found that I thought was wonderful is that Mother and Daddy took the train, and it was in the paper. You got it from Mary Crouch.
She came over, Evie, these little things when she was clearing
Yeah.
Mrs. Crouch's things out, and it could have been thrown away. Wasn't that the cutest thing?
It was darling.
What was it?
Okay, Daddy
It would have
and
gone
Mother
over your head.
went up. All right, go back a minute. Aunt Maddie had just had a big wedding with all these bridesmaids, and grandmother had a small baby. She was having babies every 2 years. She had a small baby, and so Mother, and let's see, Mother would have been 19. She was not
Yeah,
20 yet.
No, I think, yeah.
She was
That's
18
what
or
I had
19.
been told.
I believe she's 19, was 19.
There again, it would
there
be
was
in
13 years difference between them. Okay, they got on the train, rode to Charlotte, were married in that Presbyterian church, right in the
Beautiful
middle of
church.
Charlotte, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Still,
Myers Park?
it's still going.
No, not at Myers Park, in
No.
the middle of town.
Hmm.
You know,
Right
that
near
first-
the industrial, near
Yeah,
the
right behind.
Ivy's, Ivy's
was-
parking lot. Well, it used to be right here. And
Yeah.
then
And they got married and came back
Oh.
and didn't tell anybody. Now, we don't know, Mother wouldn't discuss things like that.
I thought
But
that,
we
and
don't
that
know how
was
long.
due to Mary
We don't know
Crowes.
how long it was before they told people they were married.
Why'd they do that?
Why? Because grandmother had gone through all of that wedding
A big
with Aunt Mattie. All those parties and all those things with small children and a new baby, a small baby.
And she did not want to do.
And mother was
put
considerate
her through.
enough not
That
to
was,
put,
and that was considerate.
not to put, which was great.
I thought so too.
But knowing how proper mother
I know it, and Robert Mebane said, I know that can't be true.
Robert maybe
It was in
didn't
print,
believe
though.
it. And didn't believe it, even though it was in the paper.
It was in print. Yeah.
Because I thought that was real interesting. When she died, you remember Dr. Devant
Oh boy, of course I
told
did.
him, well, I had trouble with him.
Honey, I blessed him out. He left the
Well,
office room. I had a lot of trouble with him.
well, everybody did. I had mainly write him a blistering letter because of the money part, you know what I mean? And he returned money.
I really did.
He returned
Because
money.
of the care. I just was
And the care, too.
informed, agreed.
But he did say this. He said, your mother was a true lady.
Hmm.
And said, I could not ask you things, you know what I mean? He took responsibility, which, Marion, we should be thankful for.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he
Oh,
took
I'm
a
not-
lot of-
And he
Yeah.
was aware enough that, yeah.
Yeah.
And I went to Dr. George because I said, I'll just stay here until,
And
I
Barney
says, my
sat in the
mother
door.
is just not talking. And I says, we're moving her in the morning. She's going down to the nursing home. And
Yeah, we
but
want-
he was, and I have no grudge against
Yeah, I
him
don't either.
whatsoever, not the least.
Mm-hmm.
But it was so heart-rending.
Yeah.
Bed sores,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
which
but
was
they
not
didn't-
necessary. And the little hospital couldn't have been better. They were just great.
The hospital was great. It was the extended care.
And it was
And-
too new.
And we
But that's
decided
all
she
right.
wasn't getting it, so we hired a babysitter. And then nobody did it. The people didn't want to do it. They said, let the babysitter do it. Well, let the sitter.
Mm-hmm.
and then the sitter says, well, let them do it. And of course, Forney was up there all the time, so we knew she was on call. And they'd call her,
That's
which
right.
was terrible.
And she would bring mother over as long as she would, you know, as long as she would go over to the house. And
Because you see, it was very hard because, what was it, the last couple of weeks, she closed her eyes and wouldn't talk to
and
us.
it absolutely she had given up. And
Mhm.
she really was wanting to
It was
die.
just time.
Well, and that was the way it should be.
It is.
I don't feel bad about that.
I don't either, and not a bit. Not
She was
one
a
bit.
strong,
Very
Emma was a
strong-willed.
strong-willed person. That's where we get it, all of us.
Yes, and we do get it honestly.
What about Forney?
I know it.
No doubt.
And you are strong-willed, and I'm strong-willed. And I try to be strong-willed on the right things.
Well, I do too,
You
but I don't
do
know that we
too.
make
All right.
Oh, there's some more rolls. I'm just gonna let this thing go.
Okay.
Let's, we'll
But-
just, what we'll do is we'll just take pictures of everything, and then we'll go back and cut them out if we need to.
Sure. You can
Like
cut
that.
all mine out.
This, I was saying last night,
Mother had that thing.
videotape is the only place where you can erase the past.
All right.
Because Marion, I didn't tell you, but the book club had the head of the library to give the program month
Isn't
before
there a
last.
new one?
Yeah, and she's real attractive.
Oh, good.
But she came in and she said, I have to apologize. My program is in outer space. She said that it all disappeared. I don't know who did what,
Oh.
but she had put all that work into it.
Oh.
And she had the screen ready to go and everything.
Oh.
And she said, it's not here.
Oh.
That's
Now,
one disadvantage.
That's the end of that.
That's right.
And we may go anywhere into the den or anywhere. We'll take our coffee.
Because I don't know what your memories are, Mother, because
I just barely remember. I
not
was about
much.
Well, you
not
were
much.
four
very young.
or something
Yes.
when she died.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
you
so
were
she
here,
was-
I guess.
Quiet for a year before that around me.
Well, she was
Yeah.
sick, yeah. We had her in Charlotte,
Made a big difference.
so you wouldn't have known her.
When she was really in her robust best.
People loved her.
Yes, indeed.
She,
Most certainly did.
she put herself out. She loved parties. She loved Easter. She loved Christmas.
And she was talented because she did write
Uh-huh.
good poetry.
Uh-huh.
I also gave
Mhm.
your
But she-
mother, and everybody has
Yeah,
that.
but she.
I got a copy of that
of
too.
that, yeah, of the
Yeah.
poem, and she
It was
loved
my
doing
Dr.
it.
The
She was-
band. She was a Southern lady.
That rhododendron poem,
That's
right?
it, that's
Yeah,
right.
Mount Laurel,
Rhododendron.
maybe.
That's
I can't
right,
remember.
but she
That's
was
funny.
really talented in many areas and loved to read. She was talented.
You had two very different grandmothers, great grandmothers.
Mhm.
Bob's
Mhm,
mother.
that's true.
Bob's
that's
mother
really
and
true.
mother.
Right.
They
Right.
weren't ordinary type.
No, they were, both of them, and what I know of Miss Wanzer. That's exactly right.
Oh yes,
Mhm.
they were very different, but
Now you were saying with Mama, she didn't like having kids around that much.
no,
And I didn't
She
have
never-
her sit, and I don't think you did either.
she
I
kept.
had her one time.
She
Mhm.
kept
here.
your mother when I went into labor at home with Chuck. Water broke. I got out of bed and the water broke, and so we thought that she was coming right then. Of course, they
Mhm.
didn't, but I mean, it was quite some time, and we dropped Ruth at Mother's. We didn't ask her. No, she didn't ever keep the children.
Not
Ruth-
mine either.
And you know what is so sad? Ruth would say, "I spent the night over at Mama's," and she never did.
Yeah.
Uh,
That goes back.
It was a shame.
We would go up to visit.
It was a shame
But I
she
always
missed
was there.
this. But I guess Mother thought that she'd raised hers, but she never.
I asked.
I had help, and
This-
you had help, so
Yeah,
we were okay.
yes, right. This was
Mhm.
not, this isn't pretty to say, that the reason I had her come down for a couple of hours, but after Hardin, I was so constipated, I was sick. I was
Mhm.
sick and I couldn't look after the little baby.
Yep.
So I only had her to come down for a couple hours. Now she would come, but I was always here and I took care. But that's my only memory of just
Mhm.
being desperate, that
Mhm.
I
She
needed
must
help.
not have been comfortable about little
I don't
children.
think so. I know she wasn't comfortable with the boys because she would say the dear Lord knew what he was doing.
She wasn't
When he gave her girls and she looked at my boys and how, you know how,
But she wasn't
normal.
comfortable with Ruth
Yeah.
either.
okay, so there you are.
There you
But
are.
I knew she was with the boys.
Because later Ruth did, when she was older, go over and play canasta with her in the afternoon a little
Right,
bit.
right.
But I never left her. Which is
So that
okay.
was- Yeah, right, because she had
I had-
a lot of generous qualities and just,
You had Catherine and I had
that's
Tommy
exactly right.
that we could call on.
That's
Mhm.
exactly right, and those were the ones that, yeah. So I didn't have a void there,
People
you
are
didn't
interested.
either.
It's a shame you didn't know Daddy.
Oh, yeah.
He loved for you to come.
Mhm.
Oh, adored people,
He loved people.
loved people.
And Forney took a trip up north. Now this was way back, we're talking when money wasn't floating.
No way.
And Daddy was not extravagant at all, very conservative. And she got to Winston-Salem and hired a taxi
Oh,
to
yeah.
bring her to
I
Conover.
remember this one.
I remember this one too, right.
Mother
I
went
remember
through the
this one.
roof. Mother went through the
Oh,
roof.
well.
And Daddy said, but what did he call her?
Oh, my mother?
Yeah.
You're my mother,
Yeah.
Pink.
Yeah, well,
And Bunch.
Bunch.
Bunch was
He said-
another nickname.
That's
He
cute.
It
said,
is cute.
but she wanted to come home.
And that was it.
But that was Forney.
it. That was it. That was
Can you
it.
imagine our taxi, even now?
Claude will tell this story too, and he happened to be there. They were visiting when she drove up.
Really?
And he was so impressed. Because it would not have been, you know, but.
It wasn't like
and
Daddy.
And that's
And I-
like Forney, that this was, she wanted to go home, and it'd be like Dad, she wanted to come home.
Mhm.
So that wasn't.
And he
anything.
always
That's all there is
welcomed
to
us.
it.
He never,
Always,
he
always.
never, he was wonderful.
always, always.
I couldn't
And,
have taught school for less than $100. I taught 3 years and never did get $100.
He
Mhm.
was
It
just
was-
wonderful.
A little less than 90.
Mhm.
And, so I came home every summer. He welcomed me.
Mhm.
He was that way,
I had to have a place to stay and a place to eat.
but he was just
Yeah.
wonderful.
He
That
was.
is the
He was
truth.
very
And he
prosperous.
was good to all three of us.
He treated us all.
He did,
And
and
he
he would
said,
keep
uh,
telling Pink,
I'd say, well, Daddy,
you got to
don't
do
you wish
that.
you'd had a boy? Nope.
Mhm.
He said, boys leave you, girls don't.
And that's the truth, too. That is the truth.
He never did. Yep. Life's interesting. You wondered how the two of them ever got together.
You know, and I never did hear how,
I don't know how they met.
because I know Mother, she went with a professor down at, she loved to go to Aunt Mimi's. You know, she went different
Aunt Mamie
places in the summer.
Lawndale.
In Lawndale, and Mother never really, well, she wouldn't have said much about Mrs. Mebane, except she did as a aside once. Now, I just don't believe her age. Because see, Mrs. Mebane was teaching down there when, in Lawndale, when Mother was down visiting, and well, she was right about that. Because there are a lot of women that don't want to give their age, and
Mae
but
Morrison-
she went with a professor.
Mae
Mother did.
Morrison Abernathy. Team told me just recently, there
Claude was telling this story.
there was no age on her driver's license. How she did that, I don't know. And so when Team went to put up the tombstone, she couldn't find it anywhere. She went to the driver's license, she went to everything, so that there is no age on her tombstone.
This is what Claude was telling. This is one of the stories,
Mhm.
and
Isn't that something?
it really is, and
That's-
that's
We'll see how she
interesting.
did.
That's Jewish's second wife.
Right, and
Mhm.
Miss
We're on the
Evans,
Morrison
it's, I
property.
think Shorty maybe asked Sylvia, but I know Miss Mebane had said to Sylvia, it's not even right on Mrs. Meban's tombstone. It's
Mhm.
2 years.
But at least there's something on there.
There
There's
is something,
there's
but
nothing
it's
on
wrong.
these.
Because, and it doesn't matter, she was 4 years older than Mr. Mebane, but
Mhm.
she just didn't want that
At
known.
that time,
Oh, yes.
there was a
It's what
stigma.
Granny
There was a
explained to me.
stigma.
Mhm.
Oh, man, there was stigma.
There
And,
was stigma.
And so it was just like the cute story. Mother was outspoken, but she was kind. All the brothers had gotten married. Most of her brothers had gotten married. In the end, they were brothers, you know. Nevertheless, had gotten married older women, and she would say, "That's terrible," and it was starts with an L. She says, do not put my birth and dates on the tombstone because I don't want Pink to know. She was also older, that had married one of them.
Isn't that something?
And
That was just the times.
it was the times.
Our grandmother Abernathy, I wish you had known.
Mhm.
Because what woman, even I still think she was a saint.
I think
She
was
married
so
a foreigner.
kind.
Her husband died 2 months before her child was born. That was our mother. So she had no way, she had no money, no way to support herself or her baby.
Mhm.
And then her sister had married J.F. Abernathy and had 6 children. Well, Mary and Martha had been separated as children.
Which
So-
was not abnormal.
No, it
During
wasn't.
those times.
No, because
Mhm.
there were quite a few children over here, and she visited an aunt and uncle who had no children. And they begged that family, they said, you've got all these children, please leave Mary with us and let us raise her, which
Mhm.
they did. On her deathbed, she looked at her husband and made him promise. She had 6 children, and he would not separate them. So evidently
It's a big
she,
job.
okay, so evidently she came to help him. And then they married and had 7,
Can you reach it?
yeah, 7 more. Had 7 more. Do you know that she was the one, I asked Margaret, the only distinction she made is that I call her second husband Uncle Jewel, which is what he was by blood.
Mm-hmm.
And that set of Mary's children called him her Aunt Mattie. But we were raised as aunt, uncle, first cousins. Nothing was ever said about stepbrother or
No,
first
it
cousin
was
once
not.
removed or any of that.
Nothing.
She
Mhm.
raised them all,
Mhm.
and we were all raised as aunts and uncles and everything. It was a wonderful time.
It
James,
was, and a wonderful family, really.
We
And
had
everything
so-
that you could happen would have
we had
happened to
so
them.
many relatives. It was just.
And it was. It
He
was
should
such,
see it. I don't have that picture, do you? When we're all on the steps.
Yes, I do.
Oh, that is it. I've never seen as many relatives.
We saw that last night.
Did you see it?
Good.
A
And
copy
you
of
know,
it, I
I
guess.
Well,
got a,
maybe we have it.
I got a
don't know.
good picture of grandmother.
Mhm.
You know what she looked like, Grandmother Abernathy. I happened to draw such
Yeah,
a
you
good
did
one.
draw her picture.
Mm-hmm.
May I go get
Sure,
it?
let's go. You want
But,
to walk
yeah.
back there? Or?
Yeah, we can go. I'll go to the living room. Then we meet. Y'all want to go sit in
But
the
James, I'm not talking about meek and mild children, or even children
I
that
can't
were
imagine.
that kept their mouth shut. Is a good way to express it. Aunt Mattie was so opinionated,
Yes,
so
and
hard
she
to
would
get
have been
along with.
so hard to have.
Raised.
It would have taken so much patience,
Mhm.
To
and it
raise
was
her.
one of them.
Now
I
she
think
was
that
she was Mary's daughter.
right.
She was the only daughter of the rest of the boys.
I guess it was Elizabeth. No, not either Elizabeth or Margaret. That grandmother tried so hard with
Elizabeth was the difficult one. She
with
married into
Maggie.
the Irvin family and thought that she was
Right.
better than anybody else because they had family behind them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's awfully hard.
and that did not work out.
And the marriage didn't work out.
No.
But
But she
that's what
worked
I'm
hard
saying.
after that, it may be, but she just put
And she
herself
had some
to.
in there that drank too much, but there again, she
Yeah.
got along. She
Yes.
never spoke against them.
Mm-hmm.
But everything that could.
Pointer's husband, Rob, was
do.
the cutest one, wasn't
Oh,
he? He said, you know,
he adored grandmother.
when she died, it was between Ruth and Chuck, those 3 years. She had the baby booties ready in the whole closet. Because I know it just broke me up. Joy and I were the next one to expect. Rock said, she's going to populate the whole county. She greeted each baby as if it was the first grandchild.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
just love. I'm sorry now. See, mine did not. I mean, I wasn't married. I was still in college when she died.
Mhm.
That I didn't have that experience, but I would go.
We had another grandmother that lived
Oh, yes.
from here
I
to
told
there.
James. Yeah.
I
Really?
did never remember having
Grandmother Bolick was
Right.
very stiff, very cold, and
tiny,
yes.
never weighed over 90 pounds, had
No,
12,
but I meant, just not that loving
had
Mhm.
12
that I
children.
know of, because it didn't show.
She
that I
fed
know
Uncle
of.
Loy at lunch,
That was
but
one
I
of
never
her.
ate a meal down there.
I didn't either.
I never went down to spend the afternoon. I did see her.
I did
but,
too,
uh,
because Mother saw that we did,
Mhm.
and but not to visit and I remember what.
But
a
we had
little
one
bit about
grandmother.
Oh, we just made up for everything.
And when you went to see her, you found out all about your cousins. Because the only thing was, she'd ask. And if you didn't know, she'd look at you. She didn't say anything. You mean you don't
She
know?
was wonderful.
So we always found
And
out.
she kept up with every single one.
Every single one.
Good.
And
And a good mind too.
Had the gift of making you feel you're special.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. To each and every everyone.
That's a
And
talent.
brought out, it is a talent, and brought out your good points and not necessarily, it didn't criticize any bad points, and we all have bad points.
Mm-hmm.
But she was not doing that, or at least not to me, and I know she didn't to you,
But
and I know she didn't to Barney,
That
and
was a real
anybody
gift.
else I was around, no, sir.
The boys went through her husband's money. He had money at one time.
Mm-hmm.
Sure did.
But she would let me come up there for Bible school.
Me too. I stayed in the front room,
Mm-hmm.
and
And you know that wasn't easy.
no. I
You go
remember
stay
that
for 2
room.
weeks while,
Just
because we belonged to that church.
That's right, and I did the same thing. And we were up there so much. Every
Daddy adored
Saturday,
his-
he
He
did.
adored his in-laws.
He did. And
He had-
Saturday, we were up there. We were up there for church on Sunday. And
Then we ate Sunday meal.
well, I knew that, but see, I don't have that memory. I have the memory of being there, and all the holidays.
Every Saturday we went up there. Daddy,
always.
Daddy kept hunting dogs with Uncle Joe,
Always.
with
Always.
his father-in-law.
Of where?
In Hickory.
Out in the country.
Oh yeah, I was in the country, but we went to Hickory.
Somebody, something Ryan.
Oh,
Henry Ryan.
Henry Ryan.
Henry Ryan.
All right.
It
Because
must
they
have
did
been
their-
Is that
related
like
somewhere. but
Lenore Ryan?
They kept,
I don't know.
have no idea.
I don't either.
They kept hunting dogs out there. That was the one thing that grandmother didn't like. The only thing I ever heard, she said, the help had to bake cornbread for those dogs.
And it sounded good. You know, it sounded like something you could eat, but there again, there wouldn't have been the.
Hunting dogs.
Yes, there would not have been as much dog food, or you made your
No,
own.
you couldn't. Yeah, you couldn't.
You didn't buy it, so that sounded good and homemade for the dogs.
You knew
I
that.
remember walking by, there were some dogs, but that maybe weren't the ones, and I'm sure they kept them out in the country.
They kept them out because they could
But
have had
going
some
up
there.
to see, where when Doris Ann and Nancy were, when I was visiting, through the garden was here, and then they had a lot with dogs here. Now this may have been later.
That's true.
And then that path was up to the apartment house.
Yeah, where Aunt Mary was.
Right, and I was up there, I was welcomed up there. But that was my path,
We
to
took
go up
grandmother,
there.
Forney, Marion, and I took grandmother up to Bourne Rock for 2 weeks.
Yes, wonderful.
And we'd go
Yes.
in, and her husband, Uncle Joe, if she told him she was going, he got deathly ill. So she didn't tell him. And she would pack her suitcase and hide it in the hall, in that big closet where the booties were. And we would go in. We'd drive her up. We'd go in and say, "Grandmother, you ready?" "Yeah." And she'd turn around and say, "Joe, I'm going to Bourne Rock for 2
This is how she do it every
And he
time.
didn't have time to get deathly ill.
And Claude was telling the same story
Yeah.
when his dad would take, he liked to take her on a trip.
Yeah.
And because he loved a trip, you know, that's where Claude gets it. And she would do the same thing that
Yeah.
she would tell him as she went out the door, where she was going to the, I forgot what state, but she was going with Claude. But
Oh,
anyway,
man.
she couldn't go. In the mountains, and I know there are so many things that we could say about, but Jay, she was so sweet with her great-grandchildren, you know, and Jay would come and he had his times of crying, just like all little ones, and she'd hold out
She's
her,
talking about James Edgar.
James
first.
Edgar.
First.
yes, James, that, you know, she'd hold out her, she always had a name with tears right in here in the pocket, and, and that was hard to do, and he would, and she would also go and get my saddle shoes, because it was the fashion to have dirty fashion, you know, saddle
She'd
shoes.
say, "Can't you polish them?"
And
She
she
kept
got them
herself.
one time, and I didn't say a word, but she couldn't stand it.
She
couldn't
left
stand
mine
it.
alone, but
She did do mine, and
She
so,
was,
but anyway. But we have just the nicest
But
memories
very
of
few
her.
people can remember their grandmother. We did spend
Oh,
weeks
you're right. You're
with her,
right.
and
Just a privilege.
I realized how hard it must have been.
Certainly,
Oh,
certainly.
second husband, 7
Right.
children, and she had one child after her first grandchild, which was Barney.
Mm-hmm.
She had one little boy after that. And then she put, the house was great big and had a big living room downstairs, and a big bedroom, and there was a sleeping porch. She put him out. Not soon enough, I don't believe. But that was her last.
Just
But it
precious-
embarrassed her
Precious
that she
stories.
had a child, after
Mhm.
her daughter. But yeah, but she had 7. That was enough.
That was.
That was enough.
That was. And I think, I know this story would be true. I don't know, the mother told me.
Wait a minute,
but you
one
did.
died.
See,
one died.
there were some that died that,
There, Margaret said that there was just one, a little girl. And I forgot.
and that they never got over.
I
They
talked-
always mentioned
I
it.
talked to
That
her
was
before.
coming from Margaret. That they never, ever truly, that was, the
She
child
was always mentioned.
mentioned.
Yeah. There was a little girl
Mhm.
that died.
Yeah. All right, but there's some lovely stories.
Anyway, not many have a grandmother like that. And Grandmother Bullock would never mention because she didn't pay attention to us.
No.
I mean, nothing against her. She
No,
had-
no.
She
I
had
have-
12 children.
I have no stories to tell about.
She had how many?
Had
12.
7. She had 7. She had 7 boys and 5 girls. And she did come over one time to my house, only once. And she did say, I only had one child, that was Ruth. And she did tell me, she said, women were made to have children, you should have more.
no.
And she weighed less than 100 pounds, tiny woman.
Well, she had lived up to that, so
did.
you couldn't argue with her.
And all the boys were big.
And
Her husband was big,
Mm-hmm.
blustery. Not a very pleasant man.
I looked, and I remember saying to Renelle, and if I had been near you, I would have said to you, I went by to see when he died. I think I was of an age I should have remembered him. I think I was 6 or 7 years old.
Yeah.
And I should have some memory of him from a picture. And that's one I think I put in, I don't know whether he was in it or not, in the Bible. He would sit there on, I think it's that stone thing that got up to the house, near the shop. But I should have had, and Renelle said she didn't have a memory of him. I'm pretty sure, I at least asked her. I
No.
happened to be with her after I had been to the grave.
See,
I
there's
mean,
8 years difference
Mhm.
between us.
right.
I remember
You
him
would-
sitting on the porch and spitting in her flowers.
All right.
But boy, she ruled the roost. She ruled the roost. He was
It
large
makes
and
what a
blustery.
difference what you would
But the
remember
boys
because of
couldn't get
age.
along with him. And and that's why they built that building, to put him up there. It was real interesting. Man, I went through, the books were still there when we closed the shop. I went through his book to see if he ever earned any money. That was ugly, I know, but I did it. And there were always transactions he took from the shop up there, but never any transaction that he sold anything. He invented a wheel,
Mm-hmm.
but he was not practical.
Mm-hmm.
Evidently not.
And the boys, I guess that's the reason the boys worked so hard.
Oh, yeah, and they did well, don't
And
you
they
think?
did well.
And I also like the fact, Eddie, and I think, is this true? I never heard Dad talk against his brothers,
Never.
ever.
Never.
And the sisters that were away, they would stay either with, us, or they would stay.
Mostly
Renelle
us.
says Aunt Bertha stayed with them, and we got Aunt Mary.
Mm-hmm.
Aunt Mary was a pig.
I know it. But anyway, I never ever heard him say one word against his brothers.
They also helped. They helped PJ.
They certainly did. They worked together
There were
as a
only
unit.
there were only 2 of them that didn't really. The rest of them really made good. I mean, they made money.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
PJ could never seem to help.
Right.
Uncle
Right.
Oscar helped him.
Right.
And then the last child, she never let go to school. So, but that was grandmother.
That sure
That was
was.
grandmother.
That certainly was.
And now, a lot of people thought she was backward, but really it was the fact that she was uneducated
Mhm.
and that grandmother kept that last child there. And the boys built a house for them. And
And you,
Aunt Mabel didn't marry too well.
no,
She didn't marry-
not at all.
And so they brought her back.
Not at all.
And he was mean.
That's what I
At the
heard.
last.
She
And
didn't
I
marry
talked
too
about
well?
that.
That's what you mean?
Yeah, well, he didn't make money or was not very pleasant, so
Right.
he didn't
And I'm
leave
not
much.
sure he was a real good person.
No, he
evidently.
treated Stella so bad that
That
he was
what you
not,
and
I mean,
talked
he didn't
about.
have much but going for him, but that was neither.
Right.
But at least, as I was saying, what Marion was trying to say, the boys took care of their own,
They did,
and they did an
they
excellent job.
did. And
Didn't
Uh,
say anything about it, nobody would have known.
no, and I would try to go see Aunt Cora when I could, and she was saying that Jerome, she says, you know, that surprised me, but he meant it. That if she needed any help with Stella, you know, she brought him in, all she had to do was to let him know. And she says, you know, that just thrilled her. I doubt if she ever called on him, but,
She took care of Stella.
oh yeah.
I mean, she was
And
the
she
person.
had her in a lovely little room. It was so sunny and pretty, and she did. She
Mhm.
took care of her.
And that family, that was great, the way they took care of their own.
Sure, and not everybody does that.
No outside
anymore.
help, and nothing was said. And the outside people wouldn't have known this,
Nope, so
which speaks well.
it does.
But the thing that I didn't understand, man, and I looked at Daddy, Daddy was spoiled. All of those
Well, I
boys,
know, yes, and then
All
Mother
of those-
did her job too. which
all
was
the
very
boys,
nice.
all the boys were spoiled.
Right.
Oh, there were 7 of them. They were good looking. And Mary Coon used to say they had beautiful horses. And buggies, of course they made the buggies.
I bet they did.
And, and they courted, you know, they made quite a splash. But I was told that she made her girls wait on their brothers.
I had heard
which was
that
wrong.
too. I had
Which was
heard
wrong.
that, right.
Because I often said, Daddy, how could you be so spoiled in a big family like that? But they weren't. They were spoiled. And she was so high.
Little tiny, I remember the garden.
She reminds me of Ann.
Oh, exactly.
Who?
Ann, and you know they said
Ann who?
Grandma Ann,
Claude's-
Claude's,
Oh, okay.
Claude's granddaughter.
Her daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Claude's and Renelle's daughter,
Daughter.
first daughter.
Oh, I meant that. I didn't mean granddaughter. Excuse me. And then they say Grandmother Bullock was pretty, and I think
She
there were
was.
some pictures that I saw.
You should go up.
I saw
But
one
this is
somewhere, and they remind me too again of.
You know the new motel that has suites that was built in Conover on the Taylorsville Road? Renelle put pictures of them up there.
I'm gonna plug this guy in.
They're in the hallway. So sometimes you might want to go in there.
Just take out
You're not
anything.
using that fan.
No. We can still go into the den.
Sometime you might want to
We're
go
having
there.
fun right here.
Huh?
We're having fun here.
I am. This
If you'd
is,
rather go in-
No. I just wanted to be sure you're warm enough. The kitchen, this one's not coming on. It
Do
needs
you
to
want to
be.
know another ironic thing? Someone has written a book. Well, it's about this.
I know what I
shaped
meant
that
was,
way.
it is,
It's
and it
shaped that way.
shows the, because he is praised in that little book, and I sent it to
He's praised
the
in the-
grandchildren.
He's praised.
I got it down at
he's
the
praised-
library.
Was it down at the library? He's
What
we
praised.
may
book
not
are
be-
we talking about?
We may not be thinking about the
We
same
may not be
thing.
thinking
Okay.
of the same book.
But you had
I-
told me about that
Yeah,
other
I
one.
happened to be down at the museum when the man and woman were there.
Well, there's some woman that wrote this though.
Well, this was a couple that wrote it.
I
Well,
think
we
we're
were
talking about a
conversing.
different one.
The man that didn't, he invented the wheel, the steel wheel, but it got a
Reinvented it.
He well, no, it was a steel one, and he got a thing from Jamestown, a
Mhm.
certificate, the expedition, because we gave that from the shop to the museum.
So one of our ancestors reinvented the wheel.
It was the
No, it was a
story.
steel wheel.
Steel
Yeah,
wheel, and
not-
yet I
Not a wheel.
Where did I get that Ford had taken his invention? I swear I heard
Well, he
that
probably
growing
stole
up.
it. Well, he could have. He wasn't
No,
that
no, no,
smart.
yeah. I don't know. That could be
He
absolutely
had a
wrong.
patent,
I don't know.
didn't he?
Yeah,
Huh?
the
I think he had a
steel wheel.
patent. I remember it from.
I don't know
someplace.
whether he did or not, but I know we've got the certificate
Mhm.
from the Jamestown something.
Yeah, I've seen
I mean, now that's authentic.
Mhm.
And also gave the museum the first one that we think was the first one. It's the one I had in my kitchen that I wouldn't give up until I moved. It was down at the shop. And we gave
The
it.
display is very nice. I've seen the
I'm
one
gonna take
down.
him by to see
Oh,
it.
yes.
Yeah.
Very
We
nice.
should go by
It
there.
is. Very
And
nice.
wasn't it nice of Sydney to do
Oh,
it?
yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, indeed. Yeah, that's exactly
Yeah.
right. We gave him, before Shorty died, and the boys' approval, everything. I had heard he wanted the Mebane,
Mhm.
and so went through everything. Now, sometime he might do something with that, but I feel like he will, I guess. But I think he did a good job with and the second one is just so nicely done, very nicely done.
Do you have a lot of stuff from the paper?
Yes, we did.
Mhm.
We let him take everything. Shorty was not participating because he really wasn't good then, but let him, he took box after box after box after box of
Mhm.
things. And he was especially interested in Shorty's grandfather, who was a preacher and the one that
Educator.
educator and a preacher, and he had many hats. And the hobby, Shorty said that actually the paper was a hobby. He never made any
Hmm.
money off of that and whatsoever. So, but nevertheless, he got a lot of those things, whatever he wanted.
Is not that marker down at the end of the street? I'll go down that way and he can see it.
Yeah, and so that
Now, what else does Shorty do?
that's it.
The paper.
He
Yeah,
was,
the hobby.
he was given no choice. I
That's
think
what I
he was
thought.
given a choice of being a doctor by his mother, that she never forgave him, I don't think, or to be a newspaper man, and he chose being a newspaper man.
Uh-huh.
No,
Well,
That
he's
was
good
there.
at it.
That was there.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted him so to be a doctor.
did you?
It's a lot of news for a lot of years.
So,
It is.
yeah, I didn't mean to bring that up.
Yeah,
We're
because-
talking about
Oh,
the
not
other
necessarily.
side of the family.
No,
Well,
no.
there were three,
That's how the family spreads
There
out.
were
It's
three
marriage and
names,
Yeah.
that's how we are.
what was the first one?
You're talking about, oh yeah.
There
Oh,
were three names on it.
Observer News Enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that was a consolidation of.
Yeah, but what was the first one?
Well, we would
Catawba?
have to go
I'd forgotten, but I remembered there were three.
for the history of it.
Yeah,
And
'cause
this,
when-
I'm trying to think when,
Al Mebane and all went in, yeah.
yeah, that was the Catawba News Enterprise.
Catawba. I thought
Yeah.
Catawba.
That was most unusual.
I knew that it went through.
It did. Mr. Mebane, and he started, I guess that's because he knew it. And he started the other paper.
Yeah.
He and Weaver did not. That just didn't
Weaver.
work. Weaver man didn't work.
Al.
When he came back.
Well, Marion, you need to go, don't you? Just a little bit.
11:30?
11:30.
Mhm.
It's 10:02. I
Oh,
don't
we've
want to
got
take, I
plenty of
don't
time.
want to take all your time.
This videotape here is free. We can use the whole thing up. It's just old videotape. But I mean, these things are like a couple hours a piece. So I mean, we could just, and if we say stuff we don't want
And
people
he's
to know us for,
cheating
then
because
we
he
could.
swung it this way and I've been running my mouth. I swear I was gonna
If we
tape
want
the
to,
show.
if we want to go back and erase stuff, we can erase it or whatever.
that
It
nice?
doesn't matter. Yeah,
That's
so
nice that
it's
he can
really
erase.
nice that you can just.
I want him to erase my face.
Mine too, don't even
We'll-
put mine
we'll
on it.
use
Your
computers
grandmother,
to,
that's fine.
We'll
But-
use computers to
but
make
I-
us all look very good. That's what we'll
Can you do it up?
I'm only an aunt. And that's your grandmother sitting there.
Well, this
James,
What do
it
you
was
mean?
fun. I went down. You got, let's see, yeah, you got mumps.
You're so sweet.
I
Mumps,
went
that's
down to
right.
get you, to stay with you.
In Greenville,
In
we're talking
Greenville,
about.
we're talking
Greenville,
about
North
yes.
Carolina.
My Lord,
Oh, yes.
I would head out at 5 o'clock. That was a real struggle for something like to stay in bed.
That's when my parents were in college.
Your parents were in
Exactly.
college,
Hmm.
and you got mumps. And I headed out. I had that little Corvair. Chuck and I had it together.
Mhm.
Okay, and headed out in an ice storm. I've never had such a trip in my life. Electricity went off.
I remember hearing about that.
And
I
James-
certainly do.
James didn't like the dark. Had to go
I
and find
remember.
flashlights and buy
You're talking
batteries.
about it.
And it was weird.
Mhm.
I mean, you didn't, nothing was on. Fortunately, that, we were in the upstairs of the house, that fortunately, there was a stove that would keep going, so we were warm.
Mhm.
But the
Gas
rest of it
stove.
was a struggle. No
And
electricity, and
I remember
all
you
you could
talking
hear
about it.
was the ice breaking. Somebody went
See
out.
how much she loved you?
Yeah, it's
And
true.
Barney and I had to go see you when you were born. And
That was funny.
nothing would do that we didn't get in a car and go
Yeah.
see you.
They did.
We did. We
That's
certainly did.
And they were so excited they got down there, where are our shoes?
Yes, I
they
think
had
they were
left
left by
You
the.
left them out in the front lawn. It was a long
It's-
drive down
Yes,
there.
indeed. It's not the road
didn't
that it
ha-
is now.
No, we didn't
Mhm.
have the interstates.
Down where? Where?
To-
Yeah,
Greenville?
from-
Greenville?
Oh.
From here
That's
to
right, I was
Greenville.
going down
Right,
there.
it is, much longer.
Mhm.
And Francis Session would tell me where to stop and eat, because you should talk a little bit of French, because she's your godmother.
Mhm.
Where to stop. She rated all restaurants by how good their tea was.
Mhm.
And I'm with Francis. I love good tea.
And
Nice
she couldn't
tea.
go from here to Hickory
like hot
without
tea,
stopping
too.
for tea. And when she had cancer,
Make it.
it was my job to keep that tea. I did so want her, when I found out she had money, which I found out the last few days that she
Mhm.
was living, I took an ice chest up there and they wouldn't let me scoop it out. And I have to go find a nurse. I said, Francis, I wish to heck you'd buy an ice machine right quick. She was a remarkable person. She was crazy about y'all.
Yeah.
And you were her family.
Mhm.
You were her family. But you were a pretty child.
Beautiful.
Have you seen your baby pictures?
I said I got
Beautiful.
spoiled because I didn't turn out that way. I'm afraid.
You still has that
Eyelashes.
beautiful hair. You're still,
Eyelashes, and that so long a boy should never have them.
she
Blonde
go to a
curly
girl.
hair, and I went down to Belk's here in Newton and got you those overalls. I think those overalls are the cutest thing with the bib on them. You were a doll. Yeah.
Man, can we turn on this
Heavens,
light up here?
yes.
I don't know.
I
Is
don't
it
know
over
why
here?
Eddie and I like this thing that I have.
Both of them would be good,
Of
maybe.
course.
I don't know
And
what
here too.
how this thing works exactly, but
Oh, that's
probably
wonderful.
you
I've been
need
in
light.
the dark.
For
Great.
it.
It could be a
There
shower.
we go.
I'll be a shower. Yeah.
How's that?
Yeah, I just know when they do something, when they try to make it right, then they have lights all over the place.
Oh,
That's about
right.
all I know.
Most certainly can. I noticed there are a few cobwebs because I never turn it on.
Oh, I don't think the camera's
That's
catching
pretty
that.
chandelier, though.
And it was one that Miss Niven had in the attic.
It's pretty.
And I like it.
Oh, yeah.
I like the old ones.
Oh,
She
I-
had taken down this and replaced with
Yeah.
brass. You know how you will. Yeah. And those were in her den there over the
And
house
they're
too.
all the vote now.
Well, all I
And
know
you
is
just
I love
don't,
it.
you don't know how valuable those things are. You don't know how many years I hunted. They now put white plastic, and they're
that's-
awful.
And
Oh,
that's
yeah.
And
the
these look like candles.
yes, yeah, yeah.
And when Dr. Silly Shuford gave me that cranberry that I had made into a thing. And by the way, Sidney Homer has it, and he has made it the focal point, that chandelier, a focal point of his parlor. It is absolutely gorgeous. He had the gas fixtures I had. I wasn't gonna put-
Right.
And he and Jerry had come up with stuff in a box and says, "Does this look like yours?" And I knew that they went in that house, and so he got all three of those fixtures. But I hunted and hunted to find
about
those because they
that?
look like candles.
Well, that's what happened to be on it.
You're lucky.
I'd never really ever asked her for things because she was not the type you would, and she never really particularly offered. I did. These were at Beach Mountain.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
so were taken out of the house up there. Those little sconces
You
and
just
this.
don't leave that kind of thing
Oh,
in the house.
no.
And that was why I took down the three
No.
fixtures.
No. I don't think so. We all
And
think like
it was
that.
like Bob said, we don't want James to go take a picture of the house now.
I told
She's got-
James
well,
over the phone. I
She's
said,
got 3 dogs
that's
and 3
exactly
children,
right,
and she's
and
helping
that's
her husband.
understandable. It is,
And we paid a fortune to keep it up, and the rest
that's
of the
right. I
time
said, when he
you started-
mentioned it over the phone, I said, if a leaf fell, Eddie or Bob were out in the yard
That's
and they
right.
got the leaf up. The leaf
I
up.
kept it neat.
Oh, extremely. They
But I was-
swept in the garage
I was
and
telling him
everything extremely. Never ever anything out
that
of
these
place.
people that knew Bob over there, that you don't live there anymore, do you? And I thought, what a compliment. Because at least it was
It
neat.
was always kept
Because
to
I figured the
perfection.
least you can do is neat.
That's
He
a-
piles stuff in the garage. That's okay.
That's
It's
okay.
his.
That's all
It's
right.
his.
They would, and this has nothing to do with you, and I will make it real
Go
short.
ahead. No.
When the Mebbins sold the house up here, Shorty's grandparents' house, I own it, all of them. Oh, they moaned every time that Roy Engel cut a tree. He did take the porch off, and Shorty and I thought, well, it's his.
That's
It's
right.
whatever,
Mhm.
But, oh,
It's
they
theirs.
just, well, they could have kept it. They didn't have to sell it. I mean, if they didn't want to sell it, and it was his, he could just do anything he wanted to with it. So they thought it was still theirs, but it wasn't still theirs.
No.
Oh well, anyway, that's
it's-
yeah.
I mean, that's just the place.
Right.
It's fine.
And you could see where the lot is, where your grandmother Bolick, the house is not there.
And that
But I
was a cute
remember
little
it.
house.
I remember some
Had a
things,
screen porch in the front.
and
Cute looking house.
it was, and in the back, I can't help but remember a porch, and maybe where the
There was a well.
well. See, that made an impression on me.
It was a well between that and another building. And I
And
don't
I
know what
just
that
was-
building was. It probably was a coal, you didn't have refrigerators or something. It
Right.
was probably for
Right.
storage.
Mm-hmm.
But between the house and that, it was covered. And that was where the well was.
And the
it was a
scuppernong
cute-
vines,
it was
I
a nice looking
remember,
house.
yes, and I remember, I was still young, and I don't think it's pictures, but sort of you go down to the living room. I may be wrong about that.
I don't remember, only
And
thing
then
I
mostly I
remember,
remember the back.
grandmother, now the chest in Ruth's bedroom now. It was in Ruth's room. I told Mother I wanted something of the Bolicks. And she and I bought the chest from grandmother. Grandmother didn't like old things. I do remember that there was a round table like this
Yes.
that would
that
seat
was-
10 or more. And what happened to that? She didn't like that stuff. She thought it was dull and black and ugly. She liked newer things. I don't know what happened to that. But Mother did, so that is a Bolick chest that your mother has. It's the only thing I've got from the Bolicks.
I had a soap dish I sent to Alaska that Mother said came from the
Did they?
Bolicks. And
I
I
have
sent
one-
it one Christmas,
I have one dish that
but it's a little soap dish.
Daddy gave his mother that he told me that I don't know how I got it, but I remember that.
Then there was another little thing that, for the two
Because there was a
things.
lot of grandmother's things.
So,
But she didn't care anything about them. But that's the difference. You don't have to like them. I just like old things. That's pretty over there, man. You got it all.
oh, thank you. It's probably junky.
Huh?
I had the mirror in the basement. It was one that was in the basement up at Mother's, and I did get that done 2 years ago. Because, and I like the paint off of it, you know, where that's just an old frame. I had a mirror put in it. And, so, but nevertheless, I've got a lot of stuff out, but that's the way I am. That's the way I am. Have a lot of stuff.
The only thing about moving, and again,
Oh, I'm sure.
I went to
I'm
get
sure.
something to put under the plants you gave me and the one Ruth did. I knew exactly what I wanted. It was crystal, it was glass. So I go in there and
Yeah.
everything. I said that would be exactly right. They're not there.
She wanted me to get a basket. I says,
No.
my sister Evan has so many baskets.
No,
She
didn't
doesn't,
get a basket.
and I couldn't see a basket there where you had it.
No.
And because you've got.
And it was nice of you to get the thing for
I
me.
know.
But I knew exactly where I had. This is the most frustrating thing. I go to get things, they're not there. Well, that doesn't matter.
That's right.
I mean, things are things.
That's right.
But I looked and I thought, there was crawling around, gone. But I couldn't bring all that stuff.
Oh, good heavens, no.
It's just if you move down, and it's hard to decide what to
It
keep.
would be very hard.
to
I would
keep.
go through
You don't know
the
what you're
agony
gonna
too. I mean,
And
not really at the
And
at the time.
somehow,
I would be
James
agonized.
Pitter's mother convinced me going to the kitchen. I love Ruth to death, but she is so neat.
She tosses.
She is so neat.
For sure.
I think she and Sissy are exactly alike.
She's
on that.
so neat.
Exactly.
And it has to do, and she didn't help me except in the kitchen, and she went through, Mother, you're not gonna need all these muffin tins. Well, here I am with these dinners and taking that. I had to go buy one. But, and I believed her. I thought when I went down there, I wasn't gonna need all this stuff. I've had to replace the kitchen. It's okay,
That's all.
no big deal.
That's all right. That's all right.
When I was moving though, Sue would say, no thank you. Ruth would say, it doesn't fit.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like, I'm gonna pitch something, child, and I'm gonna pitch it and let you do away with it.
Right.
I hope you like silver because they would take no silver.
That's funny.
So I just brought it all down in the corner cupboard. I thought, it was too hard to sell. I wasn't gonna mess with it.
I have sent, and it's the last thing in this world that he wants, I have sent silver to Alaska. And what was it? And,
Here I'm being so
and when we were
nice.
there in the A-frame, because I said and it was sort of tough in not having the money, you know, to send certain things, and I was sending things from here. And I said, Shorty, the silver goblets. Oh yes, sterling silver. And of course, Hardin brought them out just in black, and then it was so cute. One Christmas, Sharon's mother loved to come up there to the A-frame, not where Hardin built, and she says, I will polish them. I
Good
think
for her.
they stayed at,
I made the mistake of
Go
asking,
green.
what I should have done is put them in the mail.
if you could put them in the mail, then they have no choice. Of course, I didn't send. Well, anyway. And Robert and,
Because I
They
don't
took
care
it
what
'cause
they
they
do
liked
with
it,
things.
no,
I
I
mean,
don't
they
either.
can keep them.
I
or
didn't
not.
either. I didn't either. So I didn't either.
I do
But-
want, and I was telling James, that I wish he would tell, I know what Marion wants.
Mm-hmm.
She likes things. But, of course, we gave you the watch.
Well, I'll tell
This
you
was-
what I like is all that wood stuff.
The what?
The wood,
Okay.
all this wood things and needlepoint.
Yeah, and you like needlepoint.
The thing is, I don't have a house right now. Though, so
Well, he doesn't.
what am I
But I
gonna
think
do with
that
it?
you're the one that's going to do it again. That you're
But,
going
and
to
that
have
was why I
one.
brought that girl out. And
Mm-hmm.
if you could use the pillow, that's something, you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
But I wish you would pick out just one piece to remind you of us.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have to.
Right.
Oh, but that's just me. I
I
like
get
looking
taken.
at
I had
things.
enough
appreciate
too.
it.
I better quit.
Yeah,
Okay,
we'll
But,
get all
I
jittery.
like looking at things and remembering.
I do too. 'cause
There's
I do
certain
this-
odd things in the
I do
house.
this in this house, you know,
Mhm.
Mhm.
as long as I have my memory and oh, if I
Cause
keep
see,
it-
now Forney's gone,
That's right.
but I kept the Christmas tree.
Yes, and that
Which
it was
was one
so
of the last
lovely.
things.
That's right, to see that. And
So,
it,